Today in this video we will discuss about telescopes. So far we discussed about microscope, simple microscope and compound microscope, and here we will discuss in detail about telescope. What's the use of a telescope? A telescope is used to view a distant object. A distant object can be viewed with the help of telescope. And this telescope we can classify into two: refracting telescopes and reflecting telescopes. Refracting telescopes and reflecting telescopes, and this refracting telescope again we can classify into astronomical telescope and astronomical telescopes and terrestrial telescopes. So what is meant by refracting telescope? In refracting telescopes we are using lenses to view the distant object. Okay, and this we are classifying refracting telescopes into two: astronomical and terrestrial telescope. Astronomical telescopes are used to view heavenly bodies. Okay, it is used to view heavenly bodies. So if we are getting an inverted image also, it will not make any difference. Heavenly bodies are of round in shape, so it will not make any difference. So there we are using only two lenses. Two convex lenses will be used in astronomical telescope. And in terrestrial telescope, these telescopes are used to view the objects on the surface of Earth. So if we are viewing the objects on the surface of Earth, that object should be seen erect. So here, in addition to the two lenses, we will use one more lens. Erecting lens will be used so that we will get the final image erect. Okay. So we can classify refracting telescopes into two: refracting and reflecting. Refracting, there we are using lenses, and again these refracting lenses we can classify into astronomical and terrestrial. And in the case of reflecting telescope, there we are using converging mirrors to see the distant object. Okay, converging mirrors are used to see the distant object. So first of all we will discuss about a refracting telescope. In that we will discuss about astronomical telescope. Okay, here now we will draw the diagram. So here we are discussing about astronomical telescope or refracting telescope. In that refracting telescope we are discussing astronomical telescope. So here we are using two lenses. One is known as objective and the other one is known as eyepiece. Objective and eyepiece. Okay. Objective is the convex lens which is kept near to the object, and eyepiece is the convex lens which is kept near to the eye. So from that diagram you can see that objective should be of larger focal length and larger aperture. And eyepiece is of smaller focal length and smaller aperture. Smaller focal length and smaller aperture. Okay. So here you can see the difference between telescope and microscope. In the case of microscope we are using an eyepiece of larger focal length and an objective or smaller focal length, here it is case is reversed. Okay. So we are using the convex lens of larger focal length as objective and a smaller focal length as eyepiece. And why we are using larger aperture lens as objective? Because we are viewing a distant object. So when we are viewing a distant object, maximum light should enter the lens. So if it is a larger aperture, more amount of light can be collected. So we can say that it will have a high light gathering power. If we are using a smaller lens, its light gathering power will be less. We are using a larger aperture lens, so automatically it can collect more amount of light so that we can see that distant object clear. Okay, clear? Now here also two cases are there, when the final image is formed at infinity and when the final image is at least distance of distinct vision. Okay, so here is the case when the final image is formed at infinity. When the final image is formed at infinity. Okay, so here two lenses are there. Now we will discuss how the diagram is drawn. Okay, so larger aperture lens should be drawn as objective, and smaller aperture lens should be for eyepiece. And we are viewing a distant object, parallel beam of light is incident. Those parallel beam of light converges to form an image at the focus of the eyepiece. Okay, so image should be formed exactly at the focus of the eyepiece when the final image is formed at infinity. Okay, now for this lens what happens? It should be formed exactly at the focus of this eyepiece. Then only we will get the final image at infinity. No? So it will be formed exactly at the focus of this eyepiece. So what happens? The final image we will get at infinity, we will get parallel beam of light, so that we can conclude that the final image is formed at infinity. Okay, final image is formed at infinity. Okay, is it clear? Understood? No? So parallel beam of light we are showing, and those converges to form the image at exactly at the focus of the objective, and that image should be exactly at the focus of eyepiece also, so that the rays coming from this we will get a parallel beam of light. The refracted light will be from the eyepiece, we will get a parallel beam of light. So we can conclude that final image is formed at infinity. Okay, now we have to find the magnifying power. For that we can find what is the angle subtended by the objective and angle subtended by the final image. So angle subtended by objective we can write tan alpha is equal to h by FO, and this for small angles we can write for small angles tan alpha is approximately equal to alpha. So we can write alpha is equal to h by FO. Again beta, from this triangle we can write, we are getting h by FO, you can take OAB. Okay, from the triangle OAB we can write tan alpha is equal to h by OA. OA is equal to FO. So alpha is equal to h by FO. Again beta, from if we are considering the triangle ABO dash, this is from triangle OAB, and if we are considering from triangle O dash AB, beta is equal to h by FE, and we are defining magnifying power as angle subtended by final image to the angle subtended by the object when viewed directly. Okay, angle subtended by the final image to the angle subtended by the object. Beta by alpha. So we can write h by Fe into h by Fo. What we will get? Fo by Fo by Fe is the magnifying power of the telescope. Okay, magnifying power of the telescope when the final image is formed at infinity, and this condition is also known as normal adjustment position. Normal adjustment position. Okay. So in question they will specify, draw the diagram for normal adjustment position, or they may give the condition, or they may specify when the final image is formed at infinity. Okay. So this is the case, and magnifying power is given by Fo by Fe. And now we will discuss the next case when the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. Okay. Least distance of distinct vision. Okay. So this is the diagram for telescope when the final image is formed at when the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. When the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. When the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. So here we can write, this is I, so this will be D, least distance of distinct vision. So here parallel beam of light is coming, it is formed exactly at the focus of the objective, no doubt, but here what happens, image will be formed within the focus of the eyepiece. It is not formed exactly at the focus of the eyepiece, it will be formed within the focus of the eyepiece. So we will get image on the same side. So we can see that that image will be formed exactly at the least distance of distinct vision. We can adjust it so that the image will be formed exactly at the least distance of distinct vision. That's why it is known as when the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. And here we are defining magnifying power as magnifying power is equal to Fo by Fe into 1 plus Fe by D. Okay, magnifying power is equal to Fo by Fe into 1 plus Fe by D. This is the expression for the magnifying power of telescope when the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. Okay, where Fo is the focal length of objective, Fe is the focal length of eyepiece, and D is the least distance of distinct vision for normal eye, which is 25 centimeter. Okay, and in the case of telescope, here we will define one more thing, that is known as tube length. That is equal to, tube length is equal to, length of the telescope is equal to Fo plus F. Okay, length of the telescope is equal to Fo plus F. Clear? Magnifying power in normal adjustment position is Fo by Fe, and when the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision, it is given by Fo by Fe into 1 plus Fe by D. Okay, and now in the case of, this is for astronomical telescope. Now for terrestrial telescope, what will be the difference? We have to use one more lens in between objective and eyepiece. Okay, we are using one more lens in between objective and eyepiece, and what's the speciality of that lens? That lens will form an erect image. Okay, clear? So the image produced by this objective will be exactly at the 2f of the erecting lens, so that erecting lens will form image exactly at the 2f on the other side, so that final image we will get it as erect. Okay, so in between objective and eyepiece we will use an erecting lens. So in that case total length, the tube length will be given by f4 plus fe plus 4 times the focal length of the erecting lens. Is it clear? So this is all about refracting telescope, astronomical telescope and terrestrial telescope, and now we will discuss about reflecting telescope. So here reflecting telescope, in reflecting telescope I already told you objective will be a mirror. So here a parabolic mirror is used, and this type of reflecting telescope is known as Cassegrainian reflecting telescope. Newtonian reflecting telescope is also there. There we are using but plane mirror and concave mirror, and here we are using parabolic mirror and a convex mirror we are using. Okay, and eyepiece is simple convex lens itself. So here what happens? Here parallel beam of light is incident. So this will focus. So before focusing it, what happens? A secondary mirror, convex mirror is kept, so that those light will be reflected, and those reflected light will be collected by the eyepiece to view the object. Okay, is it clear? This is what happens in Cassegrainian reflecting telescope. Okay, is it clear? So a parabolic mirror is, this is a parabolic mirror. This is objective mirror is a parabolic mirror. So light is incident. Those light will be, before converging it, what happens? This will be reflected by a secondary mirror, a convex mirror, and this reflected light will be collected by the eyepiece to view the object. This is what happens in reflecting telescope. One of the example of reflecting telescope is Cassegrainian reflecting telescope, that only we are discussing here. Newtonian reflecting telescope is that you can study in higher class. Okay, is it clear? And now we will discuss the advantages of reflecting telescope over refracting telescope. So the advantages of reflecting telescope over refracting telescope. First advantage is that high light gathering power. What is meant by high light gathering power? We are using either a concave mirror or parabolic mirror as objective mirror. So what happens? More light will be collected by the mirror, and the absorption of light by the mirror is less in comparison with the absorption of light by the lens. Okay, so there will be less absorption. So more light will be collected by the mirror, and if more light is collected, what happens? The image will be appear to be very bright. So even the fainter star can be seen clearly in reflecting telescope because of its high light gathering power. Okay, and next one is high resolving power. So resolution means if two objects are kept closer, if two stars are there which are very closer, if it can be seen as two separate stars, if the distance is very small also, those two stars can be seen as separate stars, that is known as resolving power. So if the distance is smaller, for example, if two objects are here, okay, A and B, two objects are there. So we can see those two objects as separate objects because their separation is larger. But if they come closer and closer, if we are viewing directly with our eye, we cannot see them as separate objects. If it is less than 0.2 centimeter, or if it is at 5 millimeter or 0.05 millimeter, we cannot see them as two separate objects. Okay, but if the distance between the object is small also, in that case also we can By using an optical instrument, we can see those two objects as separate objects. We will say that the resolving power is high. Okay, so if the separation is smaller also, those two objects can be seen as separate objects. By using that optical instrument, we will say that resolving power is high. So if it is having high resolving power, what happens? If the separation between two stars or two heavenly bodies is small, also we can see them clearly as two separate objects. If the resolving power is less, what happens? These two objects will be together, will be seen as a single object. Okay, because of its high light gathering power, more light is collected, automatically it will have high resolving power. Okay, and third one, free from chromatic aberration. Free from chromatic aberration. What is meant by chromatic aberration? Chromatic aberration is the phenomenon where colored image is formed. If we are viewing an object, what happens? Different color has corresponding to different color of light, but the refractive index of the lens is changed. If we are using in a convex lens, what happens? For different color, focal length of the different color, the focal length of the convex lens changes, because for different color, refractive index changes. So, in the case of refracting telescope, since we are using convex lenses, there will be chromatic aberration, formation of colored image of a white object. Okay, is it clear? So, there will be chromatic aberration, but here in the case of reflecting telescope, no chromatic aberration, because here we are using mirrors. Okay, next, fourth point, spherical aberration can be minimized by using parabolic mirrors. If we are using concave mirror, the marginal rays and paraxial rays means rays closer to the axis, principal axis, and rays away from the principal axis are known as marginal rays. These paraxial rays and marginal rays will be focusing at different points, because that defect is known as spherical aberration. It happens in concave mirror. So this spherical aberration can be minimized if we are using parabolic mirror. So in reflecting telescope, instead of concave mirror, if we are using parabolic mirror, so that also will be avoided. Spherical aberration also will not be there. And next one, only one surface to be polished. Only one surface to be polished in the case of mirrors. So the cost will be less. In the case of mirrors, we have to polish only one surface, so automatically the cost will be less in comparison with refracting telescope. Where we are using lenses, both surfaces to be polished, automatically it will be costlier than reflecting telescope. And it will be less heavy. For the same aperture, for the same optical density, if a concave, if a mirror and a lens is there, lens will be heavier than mirror. Okay. So what happens? Reflecting telescope will be less heavier in comparison with refracting telescope. So it will be easy to install or easy to fix and all those things, because with the two edges we have to fix. So if it is of larger aperture, if a convex lens we are using, it should be heavier in comparison with a mirror of same optical effect. Okay, is it clear? So it will be less heavy. So we can say reflecting telescope will be less heavy in comparison with refracting telescope. So these are the advantages of reflecting telescope over refracting telescope. Okay. Now we will discuss one or two problems based on this. Okay. Clear? The magnifying power of an astronomical telescope in the normal adjustment is 100. The distance between objective and eyepiece is 101 centimeter. Calculate the focal length of the objective and eyepiece. It is mentioned that it is in normal adjustment. So what is the expression for magnifying power? M is equal to F4 by Fv, and that is given 100. And distance between objective and eyepiece, we know that normal adjustment position it will be given by F4 plus F. It is a tube length which is equal to 101 cm. Okay, so from this we can substitute F4 is equal to 100 Fe. So we can substitute here 100 Fe plus Fe is equal to 101, or 101 Fe is equal to 101, or Fe is equal to 1 centimeter. So focal length of the eyepiece we got it as 1 centimeter. So focal length of objective is equal to 100 into Fe is 1, so 100 centimeter. Okay, so clear. This is the way of solving. Here it is in normal adjustment position. If it is given the least distance of distinct division, accordingly you have to use the formula and to solve. Is it clear? Okay. Scattering of light. So scattering of light means the light, when it travels through the atmosphere, the light will be absorbed by the molecules, and this light will be re-radiated in different direction, and that phenomenon is known as scattering of light. And this scattering of light we can classify into two: elastic scattering and inelastic scattering. Elastic scattering is also known as Rayleigh scattering. So here we will discuss only about Rayleigh scattering. And inelastic scattering is known as Raman scattering. With the help of that, see the Raman effect you might have known. No? So here we are discussing about Rayleigh scattering. Rayleigh scattering says that the intensity of the scattered light, Rayleigh scattering, what it says, the intensity of the scattered light is inversely proportional to the fourth power of wavelength. Provided the size of the molecule is smaller. Size of the molecule is smaller in comparison with its the wavelength of light. So we can write, mathematically we can write intensity is inversely proportional to fourth power of wavelength. What is the condition? A should be much less than wavelength. Where A is the size of the molecule, if size of the molecule is smaller in comparison with the wavelength, intensity is inversely proportional to fourth power of wavelength. That's why it is known as selective scattering. Selective scattering. So from this we can say which color will be scattered more and which color will be scattered less. wavelength of red light is more than wavelength of violet light. So red will be intensity of light corresponding to red will be less than intensity corresponding to violet. So red light will be scattered least and violet light will be scattered most, because of which we can see sky to be in blue color, and during sunset and sunrise sun appear to be reddish color, because low wavelength light will be scattered away from the observer and only high wavelength light, that is red, which is least scattered because of its larger wavelength, it will reach the eye. Because of the same reason we are using danger signals, red color, because of the same reason, because it has larger wavelength, scattered will be least. But sometimes we can see sky to be or clouds to be in white color. Why? Because the selective scattering takes place with this condition when the size of the molecule is comparison or which very smaller than the wavelength. If the molecules present in the atmosphere are of larger size, if this condition is not satisfied, what happens? It will scatter all color of light in equal amount, so that the person will receive all color of light, because of which it appears to be white color. So selective scattering takes place if and only if size of the molecule lesser than the wavelength. Otherwise, scattering will be there, no selective scattering will be there, all color of light will be scattered in equal amount. That's why it appears to be white color. Okay, I hope all of you understood. So today we discussed about telescopes, reflecting and refracting telescopes, and advantages of reflecting telescope over refracting telescope. Then we discussed what is meant by scattering and some applications of scattering also. I hope all of you understood it. Thank you.